Chapter 5. Morphology of flowering plants. The wide range in the structure of higher plants will never fail to fascinate us. Even though the angiosperms show us a large diversity in external structure or morphology, they are all characterized by presence of roots, stems, leaves, flowers and fruits. Root, stems, leaves, flowers, fruits. In chapter 2 and 3, we talked about classification of plants based on morphologicals and other characteristics. For any successful attempts at classification and understanding any higher plant, or for that matter, any living organism, we need to know standard technique terms and standard definitions. We also need to know about the possible variations in different parts found as adaptations of the plants to their environment. Example, adaptation to various habitats for protection, etc., climbing, storage, etc. If you put out any weed, you will see that all of them have roots, stem and leaves. They may be bearing flowers and fruits. The underground parts of the flowering plant is the root system, while the portion above the ground from the root system forms the shoot system. The root. In majority of dicotyledonous plants, the direct elongation of the radicle leads to the formation of primary root, which grow inside the soil. It bears lateral roots of several orders that are referred to as secondary, tertiary, etc. Roots, the primary roots, and its branches constitutes the taproot system, as seen in the mustard plant figure 5.2a. 5.2a. This one. Yeah. In monocotyledonous plant, the primary root is short-lived and is replaced by a large number of roots. These roots originate from the base of the stems and constitute the fibrous root system, as seen in the wheat plant figure 5.2b. Fibrous root system. In some plants, like grass, monstera, and the banyan tree, roots arise from parts of the plant other than the radicle and are called adventitious roots. Figure 5.2c. Adventitious roots. Tidin. The main function of the root systems are absorption of water and minerals from the soil, providing a proper anchor to the plant parts, shortening reserve food materials and synthesis of plant growth regulation. Regions of root. The root is covered the apex by a timber-like structures called the taproot. Figure 5.3. Taproot system. It protects the tendex apex of the root as it makes its way through the soil. A few millimeters above the root cap is the region of meristematic activity. The cells of this region are very small, thin-walled and with dense protoplasm. They divide repeatedly. The cells proximal to this region undergo rapid elongations and enlargements and are responsible for the growth of the root in the land. This region is called the region of the elongation. The cell of the elongation zone gradually differentiates and mature. Hence, the zone proximal to region of elongation is called the region of maturation. From this region, some of the epidermal cells forms very fine and delicate thread-like structures called root hairs. These root hairs absorb water and minerals from the soil. Root cap, a region of meristematic activity, region of elongation, root hairs, and region of maturation. The stem. What are the features that distinguish a stem from a root? The stem is the ascending part of the axis bearing branches, leaves, flowers, and fruits. It developed from the pulmonar plumule of the embryo of a germinating seed. The stem bears nodes and internodes. The region of stem where leaves are bores are called nodes, which internodes are the portion between the two nodes. The stems bear buds, which may be terminal or axial. Stem is generally green when young and later often become woody and dark brown. The main function of stem is spreading out branches bearing leaves, flowers, and fruits. It conducts water, minerals, and photosynthesis. Some stems perform the functions of storage of food, support protections, and of vegetative propagation. The leaf. The leaf is a lateral, generally flattened structure borne on the stem. It developed at the node and bear a bud in its axis. The axillary bud later developed into the branch. Leaves originate from shoot apical meristemats and are arranged in an acropetal order. They are most important vegetative organs for photosynthesis. A typical leaf consists of three main parts: leaf base, petiole, and lamina. Figure 5.4a. 5.4a. This one. The leaf is attached to the stem by a leaf base and may bear two lateral small leaf-like structures called stipules. In monocotyledons, the leaf base expands into a seed covering the stem partially or wholly. In some leguminous plants, the leaf base may become swollen, which is called the pulvinus. The petiole help hold the blade to light. Long, thin, flexible petioles allow leaf blades to flutter in wind, thereby cooling the leaf and bringing fresh air to leaf surface. The lamina or the leaf blades is the green expanded part of the leaf with vein and finlets. There is usually a middle prominent vein which is known as the midrib. Vein provide rigidity to the leaf blades and acts as a channel to transport for water, minerals, and food materials. The shape, margin, apex surface, and extents of incisions of lamina varies in different leaves. Venation. The arrangements of veins and the veinlets in the lamina of leaf is termed as venation. When the veinlets forms a network, the venation is termed as reticulate. Figure 5.4b. Reticulate venation. Figure 5.4b. When the veins runs parallel to each other within a lamina, the venation is called parallel. Figure 5.4c. Parallel venation. Leaves of dicotyledonous plants generally possess reticulate venation, while parallel venation is the characteristic of the most monocotyledon. Types of leaves. A leaf is said to be simple when its lamina is entire or when incised. The incision do not touch the midrib. When the incision of the lamina reach up to the midrib, breaking it into a number of leaflets, the leaf is called compound. A bud is present in the axial of petioles in both simple and compound leaves, but not in the axial of leaflets of the compound leaf. The compound leaves may be of two types. Figure 5.5. In pinlet compound leaf, a number of leaflets are present on a common axis, the rachis, which represent the midrib of the leaf as in neem. In pamphlet compound leaves, the leaflets are attached to a common point that is at the tip of petioles as in the silk cotton. Neem, silk cotton, pamphlet compound, simple compound. Phyllotaxy. Phyllotaxy is a pattern of arrangement of leaves on the stem or branches. This is usually of three types: alternate, opposite, and whorled. Figure 5.6. Okay, alternate, opposite, whorled. Alternate, opposite, whorled. world. In, in alternate type of Phylloxera, a single leaf arranged at each nodes in alternate manners, as in the China rose, mustard, and sunflower plants. In opposite types, a pair of leaves arise at each node and lies opposite to each other, as in caltrops and guava plants. If more than two leaves arise at a node and from a whorl, it is called whorlets, as in Alstonia. The inflorescence. A flower is a modified shoot wherein the shoot apical meristems change to floral meristem. Internode do not elongates. The axis get condensed. The apex produce the different kinds of floral appendages laterally at succession nodes instead of leaves. When a shoot tips transformed into a flower, it is always solitary. The arrangement of flower on the floral axis is termed as inflorescences, depending on whether the apex gets developed into a flower or continues to grow. Two major types of inflorescence are defined: racemose and cymose. In racemose type of inflorescence, the main axis continues to grow. The flowers are borne laterally in an acropetal succession. Figure 5.7. Racemose inflorescence. The flowers. The flower is the reproductive unit in the angiosperm. It is meant for sexual reproduction. A typical flower has four different kinds of whorls arranged successively on the sole and end of the stalks or pedicel, called thalamus or recipetal. These are calyx, corolla, endochym, and gynecium. Calyx and corolla are accessory organs, while endocymes and gynoeciums are reproductive organs. In some flowers, like lily, the calyx and corolla are not distinct and are termed as perianth. When a flower has both endocyme and gynoecium, it is bisexual. A flower having either only stamen or only carpel is unisexual. Symmetry. The flower may be an actinomorphic, radial symmetry, or zygomatic bilateral symmetry. When a flower can be divided into two equal radial halves in any radial plane passing through the center, it is said to be actinomorphic. Example: mustard, datura, chili. When it can be divided into two similar halves only in one particular vertical plane, it is zygomorphic. Example: pea, gulmour, bean, cassia. A flower is asymmetrical, irregular if it cannot be divided into two similar halves by any vertical plane passing through the center, as in chana. A flower may be trimerous, tetramerous, or pentamerous when the floral appendages are in multiple of 3, 4, or 5 respectively. Flowers with bracts reduced leaf found at the base of the pedicle are called bracteate, and those without bracts imbracteate. Based on positions of calyx, corolla, and endocymes is respect of the ovary on thalamus. The flowers are described as hypogynous, perigamous, and epigamous. Figure 5.9. Okay, 5.9. Positions of flowers, parts of thalamus: hypogynous and perigamous and epigamous. Hypogynous A, B, and C. Okay, A, B, hypogynous, C, perigamous, D, epigamous. In the hypogamous flower, the gynecium occupy the highest position, while the other parts are situated below it. The ovary in such flowers is said to be superior. Example: mustard, china rose, and brinjal. Epigynecium is situated in the center, and other parts of the flowers are located on the rim of the thalamus, almost at the same level. It is called perigamous. The ovary here is said to be how inferior. Example: plum, rose, peach. In epigynous flower, the margin of thalamus grows upward enclosing the ovary completely and getting fused with it. The other part of flowers arise above the ovary, hence the ovary is said to be inferior, as in flower of guava and cucumber and the rare forest of sunflower. Parts of a flower. Each flower normally has four flora words like calyx, corolla, and stem gynecium, figure 5 and 10. 5. Okay, calyx. The calyx is the outermost word of the flower, and the members are called sepals. Generally, sepals are green, leaf-like, and protect the flower in the bud stage. The calyx may be gamocephalous, cephal united, or polycephalous, sepal-free. Corolla. Corolla is composed of petals. Petals are usually brightly colored to attract insects for pollination, like calyx. Corolla may be gameto, gamopetalous, petals united, or polypetalous, petals free. The shape or color of corolla vary greatly in plants. Corolla may be tubular, bell-shaped, funnel-shaped, or well-shaped. Estivation. The mode of arrangement of sepals or petals in flowers, birds, with respect to the other members of the same worlds is known as the estivation. The main types of estivations are valvate, twisted, imbricated, and vexillary. When sepals or petals in a whorl just touch one another at the margin without overlapping, as in calotropes, it is said to be valvate. If one margin of the appendage overlaps that of the next one, and so on, as in channel ladies' fingers, and curtains, it is called twisted. If the margins of sepals or petals overlaps one another but not in any particular direction, as in Cassion and Gulmohar, the estivation is called imbricate. In P and B flowers, there are 5 petals. The largest standard overlaps the two lateral petals wings, which in turn overlap the two smallest anterior petals gills. This types of estivation is known as vexillary or papilioneous androecium. Androecium is composed of stamens. Each stamens, which represent the male reproductive organ, consists of a stalk or filaments, and another. Each anther is usually bilobed, and each lobe has two chambers. The pollen sacs. The pollen grains are produced in pollen sac. A sterile stamen is called staminode. Stamens of flowers may be united with other members such as petals or among themselves. When stamens are attached to the petals, they are epipetalous, as in brinjals, or epiphyllous when attached to the perianth, as in the flower of lily. The stamen in a flower may either remain free, polyandrous, or may be united in varying degrees. The stamen may be united into one branch or one bundle, monoadiphous, as in the China rose, or two bundles that diadelphous, as in P, or in more than two bundles, polyadelphous, as in citrus. There may be a variation in the length of filaments within a flower, as in salvia and mustard. Gynecium. Gynecium is the female reproductive parts of flowers as flower and is made up of one or more carpels. A carpels consist of 3 parts, namely stigma, styles, and ovary. Ovary is the enlarged basal part on which lies the elongated tubes. The style connect the ovary to the stigma. The stigma is usually at the tip of the style and is the receptive surface for pollen grain. Each ovary bears one or more ovule attached to a flattened cushion-like placenta. When more than one carpel is present, they may be free, as in locust and rose, and are called apocarpus. They are termed syncarpus when carpels are fused, as in mustard and tomato. After fertilization, the ovules develops into seeds and the ovary matures into fruit. Placentation. The arrangements of ovules within the ovary is known as placentation. The placentations are of different types, namely marginal, axial, parietal, basal, central, and free central. The fruit. The fruit is characteristic features of the flowering plants. It is A mature or ripple ovary developed after fertilization. If a fruit is formed without fertilization of the ovary, it is called a parthenocarpic fruit. Generally, the fruit consists of a wall of pericarp and seeds. The pericarp may be dry or fleshy. When pericarp is thick and fleshy, it is differentiated into outer epicarp, the middle mesocarps, and inner endocarp. In the mango and coconut, the fruit is known as a drupe, figure 5.30. They develop from monocarpellary superior ovaries and are one-seeded. In mango, the pericarp is well differentiated into an outer thin epicarp, the middle fleshy edible mesocarps, and an inner stony hard endoscarp. In coconut, which is also drupe, the mesocarp is fibrous. The seed, the ovules after fertilization, develop into seeds. A seed is made up of a seed coat and an embryo. The embryo is made up of a radical and embryological axis and one, as in wheat, maize, or two cotyledonous, as in gram and pea. Texture of dicotyledonous seed. The dicotyledon, the outermost covering of a seed, is in the seed coat. The seed coat has two layers, the outer testa and the inner stigma. The hilum is a scare on the seed coat through which the developing seeds were attached to the fruit. Above the hilum is a small pore called the microspyle, while the seed coat is the embryo, consisting of an embryological axis and two cotyledons. The cotyledons are often fleshy and full of reservoirs materials at the two ends of the embryonal axis are present the radical and the plumal, figure 5.14. In some seeds, such as castor, the endosperm forms as a result of double fertilization. Is a for storing tissue and called endospermic seeds. In plants such as bean, gram, and pea, the endosperm is not present in mature seeds, and such seeds are called non-endospermous. Structures of monocotyledonous seed. Start.
गंदा रीडिंग करती है. Semi-technical description of a typical flowering plant. Various morphological features are used to describe a flowering plant. The description has to be brief in a simple and scientific language and present in a proper sequence. The plant is described beginning with its habit, vegetative characters, roots, stem and leaves, and then floral characters, inflorescence and flower parts. After describing various parts of plant, a floral diagram and a floral formula are presented. For a floral formula is represented by some symbols, and floral formula B, capital B R stands for bracteae, capital K stands for calyx, capital C for corolla, capital P for perianth, capital A for androecium, and capital G for gynoecium. C for superior, G for superior ovary, and G for inferior ovary. This sign for male and this for female and for bisexual. Plus for actinomorphic and percentage for zygomorphic nature of flower. Fusion is indicated by enclosing the figure within bracket and addition by a line drawn above the symbols of floral parts. A floral diagram provides information about the number of parts of flower, their arrangement, and the relation they have with one another. The position of mother axis with respect to another. The position of mother axis with respect to flower is represented by a dot on the top of the floral diagram. Calyx, corolla, androecium, gynoecium are drawn in successive rows. Calyx being the outermost and gynoecium being the center. Floral formula being the outermost and gynoecium being the center. Floral formula also shows cohesion and adhesion within parts of roles and between the roles. The floral diagram and floral formula is in figure 5.16. Represents the mustard plant family Brassicaceae. Solanaceae, it is a large family commonly called as potato family. It is widely distributed in tropics, subtropics, and even temperate zone. Vegetative characters, plants mostly herbs, shrubs, and rarely small trees. Stems, herbaceous, rarely woody, aerial, erect, cylindrical, branch, solid or hollow, hairy or glabrous. Underground stem in potato, Solana tuberosum. Leaves alternate, simple, rarely pinnately compound, exstipulate, venation, reticulate. Floral characters, inflorescence solitary, axillary or cymose as in solanum. Flower bisexual, actinomorphic, calyx sepal 5, united persistent, velvet estivation, corolla petals 5, united velvet estivation, androecium stamens 5, epipetalis, gynoecium bicapillary, obligately placed. Syncarpus ovary superior bilocular, placenta swollen with many ovules, exile, fruit berry or capsule, seeds many or and many, endospermous. Floral formula uh, plus female K in bracket 5, C in bracket A 5 and G in bracket 2. Economic importance: many plants belonging to this family are source of food: tomato, brinjal, potato, spice, chili, medicine, belladonna, ashwagandha, fumigatory, tobacco, ornamental, petunia. Summary: flowering plants exhibit enormous variation in shape, size, structure, mode of nutrition, lifespan, habitat. They have well developed root and shoot system. Root system is either taproot or fibrous. Generally, dicotyledonous plants have taproots, while monocotyledonous plants have fibrous roots. The roots in some plants get modified for storage of food, mechanical support, and respiration. The shoot system is differentiated into stem, leaves, flower, and fruit. The morphological features of stems, like the presence of nodes and internodes, multicellular hair, and positively phototropic nature, help to differentiate the stems from roots. Leaf is a literal outgrowth of stem, developed exogenously at the node. These are green in color to perform the function of photosynthesis. Leaves exhibit marked variation in their shape, size, margin, apex, and extent of incision of leaf blade. Lamina. The flower is a modified shoot meant for sexual reproduction. The flowers are arranged in different types of inflorescence. They exhibit enormous variation in structure, symmetry, position of ovary in a relation to the other parts, arrangement of petals, sepals, ovule, etc. Other fertilization: the ovaries modified into fruits and ovules into seeds. Seeds either may be monocotyledonous or dicotyledonous. They vary in shape, size, and period of viability. The floral characteristics form the basic of classification and identification of flowering plants. This can be illustrated through semi-technical description of families. Hence, a flowering plant is described in a definite sequence of using scientific terms. The floral feature is represented in summarized form as floral diagram and floral formula.